Hello and welcome to Nap Chats. We are live and excited to have you all here on our second episode. I am Arvin Abadilla, dad and founder of Eli and Allie Baby.
And I'm Leslie Robinette, VP of Operations at Eli and Allie Baby, and welcome everybody.
Yep, welcome. During Nap Chats, we'll be discussing interesting and relevant topics to parents to hopefully provide some valuable information for the rest of the parent community.
Yes, and so for anybody joining us here today, thank you for one. And also, we would love to hear from you. If you are watching us live right now, this is a live discussion. We want you to join in on the conversation. So please enter in your comment or your question or share your experience in relation to our discussion today. Also, we just want to give a shout out to Becca Dial, Shara Grace Matakata, Tonki Al-Faid, sorry if I mispronounced that, Jessica Noel, and Marissa Figueroa for liking our post. And we hope you can join us on future broadcasts as well.
Yeah, thanks. So happy to introduce our guest for today, who is one of our first parents to join the Eli and Allie Baby family as a brand ambassador, but she's also a badass. Stephanie Daniel, she's not only a mother, she's a professional full-time blogger and a full-time pharmacist as well. So we'll discuss some of that chronology and how she got to where she is, and obviously the breastfeeding and mommy shaming and motherhood and all those woes. So welcome, Stephanie, and thank you for joining us today.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me and thank you for the introduction.
So nice to have you.
I'm Stephanie Daniel. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm a blogger. I'm also a pharmacist. I started my blog a couple of years ago, and now I blog about motherhood and lifestyle. I'm also a pharmacist. I've been a pharmacist for the last 4 years. I've actually been in pharmacy for the last 15 years. So thank you again for having me.
Oh, yeah, of course. So were you a pharm tech before and then you graduated into pharmacist?
I started working in pharmacy. It was my second job right after high school, and I just never left. And I went on to pharmacy school, became a pharmacist.
Right on, right on. So we did a little bit of pre-chat, and you mentioned it was during maternity and when you were pregnant is when you started thinking about how you wanted to spend your time moving forward with the imminent baby. So can you fill the audience in on the chronology of that and how you made your decision-making process?
Yeah, of course. So I started my blog back in 2016 right after pharmacy school. I intended to be, mostly a fashion blog, which is why I named it Stylish Pharmacist. And, life kind of got hectic. We were moving. So I kind of put the blog on hold. I didn't do anything for about 2 years. And after having my son while I was on maternity leave, I realized that, I didn't want to be at a 9 to 5 all the time, sometimes 9 to 12, because sometimes I do 12-hour shift. I wanted to be able to spend more time with my son. So I decided to monetize my blog to make it an extra income. That way, I can have more time with my son. I won't miss a lot of milestones, because that was the biggest thing for me. When I was going to go back to work, I was going to miss so many milestones with him. So that really was giving me the motivation to turn my blog into a business.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Amazing.
And so what's worked for you in terms of, I know you have a following now, you're pretty successful with your blog career path. What are some of the things that how did you find your voice, in other words, and your identity, your brand?
So it took me a little while to find what I wanted to talk about. In the beginning, I was kind of trying to be like what I saw or other bloggers were successful, until I realized, that wasn't really. That's when I started sharing, I share a little bit of anything that goes on in my life. Like, I love doing DIY, I love home decor. And so I pretty much just started sharing what I like doing on a day-to-day basis. Like, I don't really share things that I don't actually do. Everything that I share are things that actually goes on in my life, things I actually do. So I would say, like, the biggest thing was when I started being myself, is when I started having more of a following and building more of a community.
Yeah.
Nice.
So when did you decide that, you were growing with your audience and followers, that, this was something that you really wanted to continue consistently and keep going on?
I think once I found my voice, found what I wanted to do, actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed, taking pictures. I enjoyed sharing stuff with people. I enjoy sharing what my biggest thing that I share is on stuff that I found that made my life easier, that I love sharing with my audience to help make their lives easier. That's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy getting messages, hey, whatever you shared with me, I really enjoyed it. This really helped a lot. And that's what kept me going. That's why I was like, hey, I really like doing this. And if I can make an income out of it, it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Well, I love seeing all your blog posts. I mean, I've also taken some tips from you on organizing your kitchen and all like your fashion advice as well. So thank you for being an inspiration to, you know, not only me, but also all the mothers out there as well. Mothers, parents, everybody.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's pretty inspiring to be able to do something that excites you and that you're personally passionate about, and make that intersect with, you know, being able to make ends meet and make money too. So that's a beautiful thing. A lot of parents are in the same situation, including Leslie and I. So for Eli and Allie baby, it was okay. We have one kid now, and how do I want to spend my time? And it was like that was the precipice of creating the first invention. And so now we've gone down this rabbit hole. But yeah, totally get that. It's like, how do you want to spend your time moving forward? You can do what you've been doing, or you can try something a little bit different.
Right. Yeah. And I bet, you know, I think it's amazing how you're able to balance between being a mother, being a full-time blogger, and also a full-time pharmacist. I mean, what's your philosophy on balancing out between those three, and how do you manage?
So I'm still trying to figure out how to balance it all. It's definitely not easy, but I do have, you know, my husband, he helps out a lot. If I need to take pictures, he will take some pictures for me. If I need, you know, hey, I need like an hour or two to finish this, he'll take my son and just play with him and do stuff with him and just give me time to finish things. So definitely I wouldn't be able to do it by myself because it's a lot. And I kind of just try, you know, to block off a chunk of time, like, okay, hey, for 2 hours, I'm going to work on this. I'm not going to get distracted. I'm just going to do that. And that's the only way I've been able to do it. But I'm still trying to find the perfect balance. I don't know if it exists, but I'm still trying to find it.
True. I know some people have other perspectives that there's not really a balance. It's just, you know, you kind of make your own pace and your own, you know, daily schedule. And so you don't ever really have quite a balance, but that's okay.
I'm trying to find it. You know,
yeah,
it's nuts.
Yeah.
Before we jump in to the topics at hand, can you, Stephanie, fill us in on what's it like in Atlanta right now? How's your community doing with COVID, with everything that's happening? How's your neighborhood?
I think it's pretty much been like it's been throughout the country. You know, I think everybody is just scared. They don't know what's going on. Nobody knows what the future is going to bring. I think that's one of the biggest thing with COVID. You know, one day you hear one thing, another day you hear something else. And, you know, with school that's about to start, I know a lot of parents, they haven't made a decision to decide if they're going to send their kids or not. And so it's been kind of tough, like it's been throughout the entire country or throughout the entire world when it comes to COVID. And you know, now with the Black Lives Matter, it's been a very tense time in our country. And I think that's something, you know, that hits close to home for me because I'm a Black mom and I have a Black son as well. So with everything that's going on, I've been just very, very angry and anxious. And it's a lot of sadness that with all that's been going on.
Yeah. How are you expressing that anxiety or the anger that you're mentioning? And how are you protecting or communicating some of those ideals and values to your son?
So that's something that my husband and we actually talked about it. We actually talked about this even before we had any kids. I mean, my son, he's too young to actually have a conversation with him now. He's about to turn 2, so he doesn't talk yet. But that's definitely something, a conversation that we have to have with him. You know, I don't have the choice not to have a conversation with him. You know, I have to let him know, hey, unfortunately, I shouldn't have to, but I have to let him know, hey, you know, when you go somewhere, you can't look suspicious. You know, you can't look a certain way, which is, to me, those are the things that make me angry because I shouldn't have to tell him those type of things. those are
Yeah.
things that we'll have to have, conversation I'll have to have with him, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, being in Carlsbad, California over here, we're starting to have some similar, well, I don't know similar, but um, it's a predominantly Caucasian community. And then the skin of the color of my son's skin is becoming like a thing that he's mentioning, and it's like, why is my skin darker, and what does that mean? So we're like gently navigating those things right now, but I still don't have like the vocabulary to even like talk about it on a meaningful level. So I'm gonna have to strategize on that too,
Right.
as Elijah goes into higher school
Yeah.
and starts to face some of these other topics, you know?
I think will help is talking with other parents and seeing how they talk to their kids about differences and issues that come up in life. And I think it helps to have that support group with other parents. And not that you have to do the same thing, but it also gives you other people's perspectives on how they handle different issues.
Yeah. How are y'all handling it, Leslie, in your household?
I mean, Keanu's 4 and MJ's 2. So we haven't really had too much of that talk just yet. But I know that when he's going to be going to school, there will be issues that will pop up. And right now, we teach him that he is his own individual and to be him, and to accept everybody else and his friends for their differences. But that's something that we're gonna have to come across as well and figure it out as we go. I mean, we're learning as we go.
I know.
But yeah, so Stephanie, how has motherhood been going? I know Aiden is 2 years old. How was it when he was first born, and what were your different life moments or challenges or any struggles that you experienced?
Yeah, definitely. So I think the biggest thing for me was like I'm a planner. So I was trying to plan everything, and I realized, no, when you have a baby, the planning pretty much goes out the door. I mean, you can try to plan overall your schedule, but little details, all that goes out the door. And I think for me, the biggest challenging was, okay, to not worry about, the house being clean, the laundry being done, the dishes being clean, to spend more time with him. I think that was the biggest thing for me, not to, because I was worried, oh my God, my house is a mess, I need to get this done. But then again, too, I was exhausted. So I think for me, that was the biggest thing to get over. Okay, they really do grow up really fast. So stop worrying about the laundry. Stop.
Oh,
sorry about that.
it's
Stop
okay.
worrying about the laundry. Stop worrying about the laundry. Stop worrying about things that could be done, but they don't need to be done. If nobody's in danger, then it's okay. Just spend time with your kids. I think that was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, I feel you on that, because I feel like I gotta, get dinner, clean up, get the house clean. Like I need the house clean in order to function. So,
Yeah.
and then my husband's like, come on, we need to get the kids to bed and, focus on the kids and spend time with them before it's time to go to sleep. And so I, in my mind, have to switch gears and remember what's priority.
Yeah, that's definitely a good way to put it. Realize, that they come first at the end of the day, that it's okay if the house is a mess, as long as, there's food and you're spending time with them. I think that's the most important thing.
So I read one of your blog posts about breastfeeding, and I thought it was really interesting because, I know breastfeeding is a big topic, and I think lots of mothers have different perspectives on it. My personal experience with it was, always being told breast is best. My mother, she's a postpartum nurse, so she's always like, feed the baby, nurse the baby anytime. It's good for them. But I, sometimes you forget that other people have different experiences, and it may not always be, the best experience or choice. So I would love for you to kind of tell us a little bit about about that and share with the audience.
So before I had my son, I had said, I'm not giving formula. I'm only best breastfeeding. That's what I intended on doing. So going in, I had already decided I'm not doing any formula, just breastfeeding. But then once I actually tried to breastfeed, it didn't come as naturally to me as I thought as it would. So it was it was tough. I mean, I think I breastfed for almost a year, but I didn't breastfeed exclusively. I breastfed and also supplemented with formula. So that it yeah. So that's pretty much what I did. So I wish that I had looked into it a little bit more and not feel like it would come naturally to me. I wanted it to come naturally. I wanted to exclusively breastfeed, but I just didn't. I just didn't experience what most moms talk about that they experience while they breastfed.
Yeah.
So was the expectation versus the actual outcome? What was that? What did that feel like to you? And how did you manage the, I don't know if it was disappointment. What did you feel and how did you deal with that?
So it was hard to decide not to breastfeed because I felt like couldn't do what I was supposed to do as a mom. I felt like I was failing my son. So that I was not going to breastfeed until I had to realize, okay, like needed to be okay in order to be there for my son. So if I wasn't okay emotionally, while I was trying to breastfeed, then I wasn't going to be able to be there for my son 100%. So that's why I decided, okay, it's okay if I didn't do it. So I still did it up until a little bit after I went to work because it was getting a little bit harder to pump while I was at work because didn't really have a break while I was at work, and that's kind of when I stopped breastfeeding completely.
Yeah. So you also talked about mom shaming, and I actually, had to look up what the definition of mom shaming. Google. They say mom shaming is bullying other moms for their parenting choices and subtle aggressions sprinkled into play group conversations. So you mentioned that you experienced this, and I too, when you're in your conversations between your girlfriends or even I would say aunts in our culture, our aunts, or we call them titas, they have certain opinions and cultural differences. You experience that like with breastfeeding and that whole mom guilt or mom shaming. Like, what was your experience with that?
So it wasn't one particular experience. It was kind of just like general, but I don't think I don't think they were intentionally doing it, but most people, they would ask when they found out I had a baby or they knew I'd give birth, they're like, oh, are you breastfeeding? And if you would say no, or if you say doing formula, they were like, oh, why not? You should be breastfeeding. That's what's best for the baby. And I think most people, they don't realize that, maybe you might not be able to, maybe you might just not want to. I think they don't realize that what they're doing is mom shaming.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And I guess from those experiences, what did you have to do to kind of not let it get to you, or know that what your choices are okay?
I think it took a lot of time for me to realize, okay, at the end of the day, I'm his mom, and that's my decision for him. I'm not hurting him. Yes, I would have preferred to exclusively breastfeed him, but I was not able to. So I think I just had to come to terms that it was my decision. I'm his mom, and I know what's best for him. But it took me a while to kind of talk myself into realizing that.
Yeah, yeah. So what would you do differently when it comes to breastfeeding, knowing what you know now?
I think I would definitely educate myself more because I think where I went wrong was I didn't realize. I mean, it was kind of common sense, but I didn't realize, if you don't breastfeed on the schedule, then you won't produce as much milk. There were times where, I was just exhausted. So I would just, instead of breastfeeding, I would give my husband a bottle and give him like formula or some breast milk that I had pumped. And I think that was one of the reasons why my supply was not as much as it was, which is one reason why I was struggling. So I think I would definitely kind of like research more and just breastfeed more, even, through those nights when you don't want to get up. I think I would actually gotten up and do it. I think that's definitely what I would have done differently because I would have loved to have breastfed him I plan on doing it for 2 to 3 years, but that definitely didn't work out.
And when up till when did you breastfeed him? All right. I don't know if, sorry.
You guys froze a little bit.
Oh, I was just asking, so how you said you were planning on breastfeeding him for 2 to 3 years. Up till when did you breastfeed him until?
Because by then I had already gone back to work and my supply was already low, and because I was not pumping as much at work, and that it just pretty much my supply dried up completely. So when he was almost 1 is when I want to say like around 10 months or so.
Yeah. So talk to us about how was it going back to work? With I know that that's a whole thing in itself with pumping at work and you being a pharmacist. I know that sometimes you work 12-hour shifts. So how was that?
That was definitely hard. It was hard. The hardest was for me because I took like 5 months of maternity leave. So after 5 months, it was hard to go back to work because I got used to being with him for 5 months. So going back to work was definitely hard emotionally. And then with the pumping, I was not always able to pump. In a 12-hour shift, sometimes I could only pump once. And if you breastfed before, you know that that's not really gonna help with your supply. Just pumping, once in a 12-hour shift. So I think that's definitely when my supply started going down, which is what that I made the decision to just completely stop.
Mhm. Can we
Yeah.
backtrack
Yeah.
a little bit to some of the mom shaming because it's as a father it's something that I never had to deal with, but I've heard some of the stories. Do you have any tools that you developed to deal with it that you can share with other moms?
So not necessarily tools, but I think it's good to have a support system. So if you have like a friend or a sister that, because a lot of time I have like my best friend, whenever I would hear those things, I would go to her and she's like, at the end of the day, you're his mom, So she was definitely my support system. So I think that's the biggest thing. If you can have a support system, a friend that you can go to kind of, talk you, get outside of your head, be like, hey, you're the child's parent. At the end of the day, you know what's right for them. You're not harming your child. So no matter what anybody tells you, at the end of the day, you're the one that gets to make the decision for your child. So I think that's what it took me a little bit of time to get to that. And I think having a good support system definitely is what helped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who do you usually talk to for your support?
It would be my husband or one of my best friends that we've known each other for over 20 years.
Yeah. So you can be real with each other and
Yeah.
share your life situations and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. She definitely lets me know if like, hey, what you're saying doesn't make any sense. She'll definitely let me know that.
Yeah. So like in general with motherhood, what did you learn the first year of motherhood?
Gosh, let's see. Like I was saying earlier, everything doesn't matter. Dishes, everything, those stuff don't matter. And I think one of the other things that I learned is that at the end of the day, sorry. So one of the other things that I learned as being a mom is that you have to spend time with your child. You have to make time to spend with your child. So especially with me, having a blog, working, sometimes I find that I'm still immersed in my blog. I'm still immersed in like, working, and I'm tired that I'm not spending as much time with my son as I should. And sometimes my husband even posts out, hey, about your time when you have kids. Because I would hear people say all the time, you know, they grow up so fast, but I didn't really realize it till I had my own. Like they really do grow up so fast. I feel like I'm
Hmm.
just pregnant and he's already running around. So definitely spend as much time as you can with your kids because they only stay little for a small amount of time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
crazy how fast they grow.
So has the new I guess not the new, but the additional career path of being a blogger and being independent, has that been fruitful, or has it been in service of your desire to have that quality time, that presence?
Yep, it definitely has. And I think I'm moving towards to be able to maybe scale back as a pharmacist a little bit. I'm not there yet, but I'm moving towards that. But I feel like I'm seeing things differently now that I'm doing that, and I'm like seeing, hey, this is a possibility that I can actually be able to be home with him more. So, but the biggest thing is that balancing my time so that while I'm off from my 9 to 5, that I'm not doing stuff for my blog all day, that I'm actually carving out some time to actually spend with my family and spend with him.
Yeah, I know how hard it is to separate from work, especially when work follows you home. So
Yeah.
that's for me. That for me, that's a conscious effort, and
Mhm.
I have to be like, okay, this is the block for the dinner time / bedtime circuit. So it doesn't come natural to me. I'm one to like blend everything together.
Hmm.
So seeing how you compartmentalize, if that's the right word, and you sit down and you hunker down and you focus on the blog, knock that out. It seems like you have that system. What would you, if there's this comfortable, but they want to explore some other possibilities, what pieces of advice would you share with them to help them bring that to fruition?
I missed the beginning of what you said. You froze a little bit.
Oh, it's okay. So having done it yourself,
Hmm.
I'm sure there's plenty of other parents there who are in comfortable career positions, and they may or may not have the confidence to break away or try to do something else. To those parents, what advice would you give them to help them take some steps towards bringing that to fruition?
I would say the biggest advice I would give is just start, because that was, find your motivation, find your why. For me, my why is to be able to spend more time with my family. So I think your why would definitely motivate you to start. I mean, I wouldn't say, leave your job right away and start something new, because that's definitely not what I
Mhm.
did. And I wouldn't be able to do that. And most people can't afford to do that financially. But I would say, just start a little bit here, a little bit there, and just definitely research, find a mentor, which is one of the biggest thing, find someone that's done what you want to do and ask them for help.
Yeah, someone who's done it before, like you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did
Do
you?
yeah. Go ahead, Leslie.
I was just because you have a pretty good following on your blog. I mean, how did you learn how to grow that? Like, did you have a mentor that helped you along the way?
I did, yeah. So in the beginning, when I first started back in 2016, I was trying to do everything by myself. I didn't really ask for help, anybody. So I was like researching, and that's one of the other reasons why I think I gave up so quickly, because I was just trying to ask other people for help. But when I decided, okay, like this has to work, there's no other way, like this has to work. So that's when I was like, I started looking for mentors, which I found. I mean, most people that you've never met, they're willing to help if you just ask. I know there's a lot of people, I would just DM some people like, hey, I saw you start your blog. How did you start? I didn't get an answer every time, but I want to answer me. They helped me, and I just found multiple mentors, and I just kept researching, just kept asking questions till I
Yeah.
figured it out, or till I found the answer.
You
Yeah.
sound pretty scrappy. You clawed, you willed it to
Yeah,
happen.
pretty much.
Yeah.
So this is going to happen. It's not going to fail. I mean, you might have, of course, I had bumps along the way. I've spent money on courses that were a kind of a waste of time,
Mhm.
but along the way, that's how you learn. I feel like by making those mistakes, that's how you learn how to do it.
Yeah. Would you call yourself an optimist?
Definitely, yes. I would
Yeah.
say so. Not every day, but for
Yeah.
the most part.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, that's great, and I mean, very inspiring for anybody who also wants to start a blog or get into the business, because it's just amazing now how, as a blogger, you're able to inspire other people from wherever you are in the world, and you can not touch, but you can touch so many people through your passions, and people who have the same passions as you. So
Yeah. I think it resonates, right? So the quality of the content you produce, it obviously attracts people for a reason. Um, so I'd like to shift gears a little bit. Um, unless you guys want to talk more about the blog aspect. So we talked about the first year and the struggles for the first year. And your son is now a little bit over 2. So what can you talk to some of the struggles that you're currently facing right now, some of the victories and the struggles?
I think for now our biggest struggle is he's not napping at the moment. So that's our biggest struggle right now.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal. You don't realize until they don't nap how big of a deal the nap was.
Yeah. What do you do? You have to like, are you super attentive now? Or are you like, hey, this is mommy time and you do you, like find some crafts or something? What do you do?
I have to be very attentive because he doesn't understand that yet. So, I mean, sometimes he will play on his own, but other times he just wants to run around the house, climb everything. So I have to follow him around. It's kind of hard to, I don't really have a second to myself when he's like that. He's just running around everywhere. So
Yeah.
I do miss it. I mean, I do enjoy spending the time with him, but there are times it's like, hey, I just need 10 minutes to, get this laundry folded or get dinner started.
Yeah. What are your coping mechanisms? Or, you lost that time. I'm about to lose that time as my son transitions out of naps too. And I'm scared of that. What do you do like to keep yourself sane, or to, you lost that me time, that productive time? Does it just load into the back of the day and you just lose sleep, or are you doing like mindful meditation? Like, what are you doing to center yourself?
Getting pedicures.
So I've recently started trying to wake up early because I'm not a morning person, but when I do drag myself out of bed, I actually get a lot done. So I've started to try to wake up like around
We lost you.
Late at night.
Sorry, you wake up at around what time? That's where you cut
I try to wake up around like 6, 7 a.m.
Okay.
In the morning. I try to. It's a key word.
Yeah.
So when I actually drag myself out of bed, I'm trying. I actually end up getting a lot done during that time because before I would stay up really late at night, like around. What happens is that I sleep because he would wake up kind of early too. So then I started waking up early. That's been helping. And when it comes to something I can do throughout the house, I've started having him help me. So if I'm folding the laundry, if I'm taking the laundry out of the washer, putting it in a dry, I'll have him help me. So he's doing it with me. It takes a little bit longer, but he's also, learning how to do it. I'm getting some stuff done.
Yeah.
What I'm cooking, I'll just have him. I got him a little. It's kind of like a step stool, but it has kind of like a bar around it so he can't fall off. So I'll have him be by me while I'm cutting vegetables or getting stuff done, trying to get him involved with me to do some stuff that I need to do around the house.
Yeah. But getting him into the motions, get acquainted with the subject matter. Totally.
Yeah. Sometimes when my son or my daughter, they're like constantly like, mommy, and I'm trying to either cook or clean or do something, I'm like, you easily get distracted and you're like, I just need some time to do this. But then you think, okay, let's have them help along with and join along. And then you're also teaching them those life lessons of, doing stuff around the house and learning how to clean up and learning how to cook. So that's a great thing that you're doing. And I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good training. Lightning round. So, I guess I'll go first. So the question is, I want to hear some victories. We've been talking about struggles. I want to hear some victories. I'm really excited. So yesterday, I think my weekly victory was we went swimming in the swimming pool, and my daughter, she's 3. She was like all about it, but Elijah was really hesitant because he had a bad experience. He like fell in the pool and like he had to get brought up by an adult last time. And so
this was in your neighborhood pool?
No, this is at our cousin's pool in Orange County.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we were there and he was just like no matter how much reassurance we gave him, he was not going to go in the pool. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to force it. I don't want to like re-traumatize him. I'd let him have it, give him some space. And then like a couple hours later, unsolicited, he was like, Daddy, I think I thought about it, and next time I'm gonna try to go in the pool because I want to join you guys. And I was like, I was blown away. I was like the capacity of a 4-year-old to reflect upon like a fear that he experienced like a couple hours ago. So that was a big victory, and I wanted to make sure I gave some praise about
Oh,
an open mind, and how having an open mind and being able to change your mind it allows ideas to come better to you, and just the positivity around that. So that's what I'm excited about this week. Who's up?
nice.
See some victories.
I mean,
You're
we're going through potty training right now with MJ. So we figured we might as well take advantage of the time that we're at home. And she's doing okay. We've had some accidents on the couch and other places. But, it's all part of the process, right? And what's great is that she's able to communicate, whether she's gone in her diaper or on the floor, that she pottied.
Okay, hey, she knows.
Yeah, she's picking up the, like how it comes with a detachable potty that you like
Yeah,
pour
yeah,
out. I
yeah,
know
yeah,
this is
yeah.
a little graphic. I'm sorry, but
Hey,
but
it's
picking it up
yeah,
herself and learning how to clean up on her own, and wash her hands too. Like
yeah.
she'll
That was
climb up on the
great.
stool that we have. So that's a big thing, especially the whole hand washing thing. And little things like that, I think, helps because when you're managing with the little ones and you are trying to give one attention and doing everything else that you do, it helps when they become self-sufficient and they're able to do things on their own.
Yeah, I got a song for that if you ever need it. So we got songs for everything in my house. We just make jingles up and say it over and over again until the kids
Uh,
remember it. So
that sounds
let
like
me
a
know.
Christine thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. What about you, Stephanie? What are some victories this week?
Well, I'm starting potty training soon, so I will need some tips for you too.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this a hit or miss? I don't know.
That's what I've heard.
That should be probably
Literally,
our next episode. We should talk about potty training. I mean,
the woes of pot. Yeah, I know.
yes. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know what your method is, but we just go totally diaperless. And
Okay.
um, that, they say that helps them, like, if they do end up peeing or pooping on themselves, they know the feeling of it feeling weird or gross, that
Mm-hmm.
they'll want to go in the potty instead.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've tried that, Stephanie, but
Yeah. Well, we haven't started yet. We brought him a little potty, but I haven't started yet. I have no idea where to start. So
Yeah.
I
Hey,
might
like,
try that.
dude, it'll come. Like, we bought a potty from Target, and it sat unused for like 4 months, and then like all of a sudden he had an interest in it, and then Alice, like I don't know if it's just if girls are just faster and more advanced and more mature, but she picked it up really quickly. But I do have to say we got this like dual. It's like this deluxe. It's like the Ferrari of toilet seats on Amazon, and it's like this. It's like an adult seat and then a kid seat that goes on top, and it's like a real lid, so it's just all in one. You don't have to like take off this
Nice.
IKEA thing that's
oh
like it's
yeah.
all nasty. It's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. And then like I installed it, and the kids are like telling like the nanny today, they're like, check out our new body. They're like super excited because I guess it fits them, and they appreciate that it's like meant for them. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's the thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
We
working.
have one of those too. The one that attaches to it, like it replaces the regular toilet seat, right?
Yeah. It's like a double toilet seat.
Yeah.
Thing is awesome.
Yeah, it's nice because you also don't have to worry about cleaning up the actual portable potty.
I know. That was the whole thing. So Stephanie, when you become an expert, come back, and then we'll have another
I
episode
definitely will.
on potty training and every other milestone. Why not?
Yes. Yeah. We'll have to
So
get
our
parents too.
definitely.
Mhm.
So our victory for this week is Bingman. He started He likes watching videos and music, and he started actually saying the words of what they're saying, and he started like counting to 10 and started saying his ABCs about like a week or
Wow.
Wow,
saying
that's awesome.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That has been a big victory for us.
Nice. Oh, by the way, I think Netflix. There's a show called, or is it Netflix or Disney Plus? I don't know. It's called Number Blocks, and it's like the kids just love it. It just visually shows math and these blocks that are like anthropomorphized or like humanoid, like, but then it like visualizes numbers in a fun way. So Number
Okay.
Blocks. Yeah.
You
Okay.
definitely
So
should do a blog post about all those shows because you seem to know all of them.
it's just like, hey, it's just what works for
That
us.
would be a great resource
know?
to have.
I don't want to be like that, that parent pusher who's like, you got to do this. But yeah, you got to do that.
Have y'all found any, like, I'm constantly searching on Amazon for some nice educational toys. Like, do you have any favorites or ones that y'all have found out there that has been really great for the kids?
Like, what kind of education are you looking for?
I mean, any type of education, like, something that's not just like a toy, but something that teaches them something, like whether it be learning about the alphabet or it's learning tactile, what is it called?
Ooh.
For
fine motor?
motor skills, fine motor skills.
Yeah. I got something for y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, so it depends on your comfort level and like your child's aptitude to stuff small objects in their mouth and choke. But luckily, like our kids don't really do that. So over the down there, can you see that right there where those two rows right there?
Kind
At the
of.
very bottom, it's like the bins, the plastic bins right there. That's called the material library. And it's like all of the products that we have that break. I take it apart and it just ends up being like a research, like what's inside. And so once in a while, the kids will always they have permission to just dig through that stuff, and like they're always taking these broken things apart. And they're like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "That's a circuit board." They're like, "What's a circuit board?" And I'm like, "I have to work." Cool. Yeah. So it depends on your comfort level, but that's just like I reference that for work all the time when I'm designing stuff.
That kind of reminds me of when we were growing up with my dad, because he's a electrical engineer. He used to fix electronics and TVs, so he had a electronic shop, and he would put us in the back and be watching us at the same time, attending to any customers. And he would have us solder like parts off of circuit boards.
Oh, yeah.
And that was our form of playing.
Wait, you guys soldered?
Fast forward. Soldered. Yeah, soldered. Did I say that wrong?
No, you guys did it? He let you solder stuff?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he let us solder stuff. I mean, this was when we were a little bit older, but now fast forward, like it's taught us so much about. I mean, my brothers, if you know them, they're very techie. They're in the engineering industry, and they know so much. And I think part of that is attributed to doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Sometimes it's interesting how there are so many toys out there, but the simplest of things that you have at home can really teach your kids something.
Totally.
Whether that be just some kitchen tools or learning how to drum on pots and pans to be musical.
Yeah. Like kids don't really, I believe they're not born with an innate sense of boredom. I don't know about y'all, but like I see like we use the word bored ourselves, so it's not part of the vernacular, but it's like they can sit around and just like entertain themselves with like this like screw fitting or so, just some random thing. But I think that's like it takes some discipline to model that, and like not put them on the phone, and because when the kids watch a lot of TV, that's when they start to like act out and like not be able to be alone with their own thoughts. They have to have their thoughts led by the device, and like have the device hijack their
Yeah,
parents,
that's
obviously.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is Aiden into these days, Stephanie?
A little bit of everything. I mean, he wants to play with everything that's not a toy.
Yeah.
Like
He's
knives
really
and
into remote controls. And he knows
oh
if you
yeah.
give him one that doesn't have a battery, he'll know if you give, because we've given him an old one. At first, like, we tried buying a toy one for him. He didn't want that. He wanted a real one. So I bought one on Amazon. I think a Roku TV remote. But I didn't put
Yeah.
any batteries in it. But he knew it didn't have batteries, so he didn't want to play with that. So he just wants to play with
Oh.
a real remote. Yeah.
Oh,
I
he
don't know,
knows
because it's
he
not
wants.
as heavy. Yeah, he'll grab the remote and he'll point to the TV like to change the channel. So it needs to be a real remote.
It's crazy, right? They
Yeah,
can
it
sense
is.
authenticity.
Yeah.
They want the real deal.
hmm
Yep. I got
And
a
it's
remote
crazy how
control.
fast they pick up.
Sorry, go ahead, Leslie.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I got a real remote control with batteries and it lights up, and they were all about it, but then they realized it doesn't control anything. So then they're like they got skeptical
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was just gonna say it's crazy how kids these days pick up so fast on technology. Like I see MJ, pulling up YouTube and pressing play, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? And
Yeah.
I mean,
They can learn the interface. It's there, it's meant to be completely intuitive.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Kids these
I've
days.
learned some things on my phone that my son showed me how to do. I'm like, oh, I didn't know the phone could do that, but he did. I'm like, how did you? Definitely.
I know, we're showing our age now. Leslie, you just said kids these days.
Yes, kids these days.
Oh man.
That's probably what our parents were saying about us, a couple of years back. Kids these days.
I know. Yeah, right. They still see us as kids.
Yeah. Well, Stephanie, this has been a wonderful nap chat with you. But I mean, before we go today, is there anything else you want to share with the audience? Any other closing words of wisdom?
I will say definitely, just remember whatever you choose to do with your child, whether it's breastfeeding or not, or whether you choose to homeschool, whatever you choose to do with your child, just remember it's your choice. And no matter what anybody says, at the end of the day, it's your child. So it's your choice to do what you want to do with your child. I think as long as most of us, we remember that, and we don't, if anybody gives us any advice, that's fine. They can give you advice, but you don't have to necessarily.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, while breastfeeding is, they say is really good for your baby, it's definitely not. It's not for everybody, and it's depending on your different situations. Like you with going back to work and everything, it was really difficult, and you shouldn't feel mom guilt for not keeping up with breastfeeding. And so I hope that other mothers out there, they listen to this show and also get a sense of relief, knowing that they don't have to feel the pressure of exclusively breastfeeding.
Yeah, fed is best, yo.
Yeah.
That's exactly
what that's what my wife says. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Stephanie, thanks for
right.
joining us and carving out the time. We really appreciate it, and also, of course, for believing in us and supporting us and being our brand ambassador too. We really appreciate you.
Yes, thank you so
for having
much.
me.
All right. Well, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, for the potty training episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to you later, Stephanie.
All right. Well, here's to another episode of Nap Chats.
Number 2.
Yes. I mean, I guess before we end today, we want to encourage anybody who's watching this broadcast to let us know your thoughts, or if you are a parent, you have an interesting topic to share, please let us know. We'd love to feature more parents out there and the different life situations that you're going through.
Yeah,
Arvin?
yeah, absolutely. Examine some challenges, toss around some ideas, disagree. You know, it's all fair game. We just want to have discourse with other parents in the community.
Yes. And thanks everyone for joining us. Keep in the loop for any future broadcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel or Facebook on Eli and Allie Baby. And we'll see you next time.
See you later.
So thanks everybody. See you later.